Neil Bryant here from Data Insight. Today we wanted to look at how much value dashboards are really providing and whether it's easy to get the insights that you really need at the time from your dashboards. The idea behind it is trying to tell better stories with the dashboard rather than providing a whole heap of information that doesn't really help you get to the key knowledge that you're trying to gain. To have a look at this, we came up with a business problem that we wanted to solve. In this case, it was a problem in the Auckland property market. Property lenders are often struggling, particularly in the Auckland property market, where the CV isn't necessarily a good indicator of the value of the property. And it's not so much whether properties are selling above the CV or below the CV, it's more the inconsistency. By that I mean, if we have a region where the sales are often sometimes well above the CV, and then the next day sales in the same region are also well below the CV, it means that we can't really trust the CV as being a basis point for the value of the property because the sale price could be anywhere above and below it. For those regions where there is a lot of fluctuation in the sale price to the CV, we just want to be able to flag those regions and say to the lender, hey, you probably shouldn't trust the CVs in that region. And that's essentially the problem that we're trying to solve. How can we easily show them which regions to trust, which regions not to trust, and maybe a little bit of the why and how that affects them over time. So what we've done is just focused on 3 key areas that we believe solves this problem. Number 1, which we have up in the top left-hand corner. What's the actual difference between sale price and CV? We're looking just at the last 3 months at the moment, but we can look across the last 6 months as well. And we can see for South Auckland, over the last 6 months, sales have been about 3.6% higher than the CV. Okay, so we know there's a difference. The second piece of insight we're looking at is how stable is the sales price to the CV change. And that's using standard deviation. And we've just done a note down here to explain to the user that what you really care about is the higher this number, the more fluctuation, therefore the less you can trust that region. And South Auckland is highlighted as a high-risk area, meaning we don't really trust the CVs here. Of course, as we were just looking at, over the last 3 months, though, rather than 6, the problem disappears. And that leads us to our trend over time. We've selected South Auckland, and we can see that while March had a crazy high standard deviation, since then, it's actually stabilized. Which means we can tell the lender, hey, you can actually trust the CVs for South Auckland now because while it was high, it's actually stabilized in the last 6 months, so it's fine to trust it. If instead we saw a whole heap of variability here with ups and downs everywhere, the lender would know, oh, I really can't trust the CVs in that region because the standard deviation's all over the show, it's chopping and changing month to month. We're not going to trust CVs there. We're going to request that all valuations done in that area are based off an actual valuation and we don't rely on the CV. And that is all we've tried to cover. You have a problem, and the end solution is, can we trust these regions, yes or no? And we've provided just that. We've told a story of, is there a difference in price? How stable is this difference? And what's it like trending over time? And that is all they need to be able to answer the problem and be able to solve their issues that they have when they're working with this data. Now there's a lot of different data we could have looked at here. Number of bedrooms, square meters, garage, swimming pool, what street it was on, what suburb it was in. All of these could influence the result, but we always have to ask, are we just trying to add too much information to this? And do those variables really help our client to answer their key problem? And the answer in this case is they don't. They add clutter and they don't really help simplify or improve the end answer that we get to. It would add a lot more information to the dashboard, which would make it harder for our client to get to the key insight, which is exactly what we're trying to avoid. We need to make it simple. Dashboard should be somewhere where our client can go to and have an easy step process where they can see the insights, it tells a story, and they walk away almost instantly having understood what they need to do.